Hi, Eugene. You got a table for 3?
Hey, good to see you again. Your table's not quite ready. It'll be ready in just a minute. Do you mind waiting here?
No problem.
Girls, do you know that when Nani and I were growing up in Wheat Ridge, this used to be an Italian restaurant?
Wait, really?
Named after the family called Valenti's.
Really?
It was a true community gathering place where we connected with our neighbors. But things changed, and when the Valenti's retired, their kids didn't want to take over the business, so the building sat empty for years.
What changed? Why did no one take over?
You know from your own experience growing up in Wheat Ridge that it feels like a small town. It's always been that way because our founding families wanted to preserve a certain way of life, away from the hustle and bustle of neighboring Denver. It's why we have so many big trees and local farms. But the things that kept Wheat Ridge feeling like a small town for some people made it feel unwelcoming for others. It was hard for the city to adapt and embrace change.
Changes, like where people live and play? Changes like saving the trees?
Exactly. Cities need to change so they can be great places for the next generation. Wheat Ridge needed to adapt to be more resilient and inclusive, so it would be welcoming to new residents and new businesses.
Papa, it sounded like Wheat Ridge had to open more doors.
Hello, All-America City. Wheat Ridge is excited to be here today to compete to be an official All-American City. And we believe we are an All-American City because from grassroots to City Hall, we do things together in Wheat Ridge. I'm Rachel Hulteen, a City Council member. When I first moved to Wheat Ridge as a single mom, I felt like my voice didn't matter simply because I hadn't lived here long enough. When I started advocating for sidewalks on our main street, I realized we needed more people with more keys to open more doors. We needed to disrupt the entrenched civic voice to include people with a diversity of lived experiences to better reflect the actual diversity of our city. So I created and led a grassroots leadership program called Wheaties Academy with the goal of cultivating a new generation of inspired community leaders. As a resident, I couldn't do it alone.
I'm Kate Cook, Executive Director with Local Works, a nonprofit that engages and educates Wheat Ridge residents to take action and advance the city as a vibrant and sustainable community. Local Works hosted Wheaties Academy, ensuring that the program was accessible by offering an affordable format and using our extensive reach in the community to actively encourage participation across demographics.
I'm Kathleen Martell, a Wheaties Academy graduate and mentor. Wheaties Academy participants collaborated with city officials, community organizations, and other residents to learn how to cultivate inclusive civic dialogue and how to creatively address challenges such as attainable housing and placemaking. Participants honed their grassroots leadership skills by implementing community projects, including the first collaborative community mural and a pop-up art festival in collaboration with schools and businesses.
I'm Adam Wiley, a Wheaties Academy graduate and mentor. Nearly 70% of Wheaties Academy graduates have gone on to serve in community leadership roles. The goal of Wheaties Academy was accomplished when the third and final cohort graduated in 2018. Local Works in the city now partner to offer Wheat Ridge 101, an annual interactive course which explores effective community engagement while learning how the city operates. As Wheat Ridge changes, it's critical to have a vision and a plan to protect our natural resources. So after completing Wheaties Academy, I was one of 11 founding volunteers on the resident-led Sustainable Wheat Ridge Committee.
I am Joy Opp, co-chair of Sustainable Wheat Ridge. We're dedicated to building a more equitable and resilient city in support of the city's 2035 vision statement, prioritizing environmental stewardship. In 3 years, we have completed over 50% of our committee's policy and program recommendations, including a project to address food insecurities by partnering with Fresh Food Connect. Through this program, local growers donate their unused produce to families living in domestic violence shelters and to people experiencing homelessness.
I'm Kayla Betzel, the city's first sustainability coordinator. My job includes supporting the resident-led sustainable neighborhoods, which brings neighbors together to tackle challenges specific to their unique neighborhood. By working together to develop and implement sustainability projects, neighbors strengthen relationships while decreasing each neighborhood's environmental footprint and making Wheat Ridge more resilient.
I'm Diana Lopez, a Wheat Ridge resident who took advantage of the Sustainable Wheat Ridge home energy audit. The audit helped me and others reduce our monthly energy bills and allowed us to participate in other energy-efficient programs. Over 800 residents and businesses participated in these programs at a free or reduced cost, resulting in electricity savings equivalent to permanently removing 1,500 cars from our roads. Because sustainability, equity, and civic engagement are important to me, I serve on many committees, including the newly formed Race and Equity Task Force. Today, these keys have been used to open doors as symbols of inclusion and civic engagement. But as we were working together on this presentation, we realized these keys also symbolize locked doors that only certain people can open. As part of Wheat Ridge Together, an initiative that started in 2020 to remove barriers to civic engagement, we are asking ourselves how we can do better to be more inclusive by listening and embracing different perspectives. Our community members are the only keys we need to open doors. No more keys as symbols.
I'm Morgan Richards. I set out to become anti-racist because of my Jewish heritage, as well as to stand up for my 2 Black teens and anyone else in Wheat Ridge who experiences inequity and racism. After George Floyd's murder, I founded Wheat Ridge for Equity in 2020. Our members called for a local response to Floyd's death, demonstrated 40+ times on our main streets, and distributed over 1,000 Black Lives Matter signs, offered equity training, and organized the first county DA candidate forum focused on racism. We also asked our city council to create a race and equity task force, and they did. We did it. Wheat Ridge for Equity members are helping normalize talking about and addressing white privilege, racism, and bigotry in our community that some still call White Ridge.
Hi, I'm Jenny Snell, co-chair of the Wheat Ridge Race and Equity Task Force. My wife and I love living in Wheat Ridge, and we are passionate about making sure it's a safe place for everyone to ride their bike or walk down the street. The Race and Equity Task Force is composed of 20 underrepresented community members who are appointed by City Council. We meet twice a month to review all city services and policies for racism and discrimination. We will present our recommendations to City Council on how to make Wheat Ridge more inclusive, accessible, and welcoming to everyone.
Hi, I'm Val Nosler-Beck. I own a small business and serve on City Council. When my family moved here 7 years ago, I wanted to be engaged, but meetings were scheduled at times when my 2 young girls needed me. I knew if my voice wasn't being heard, others weren't either. I ran for office on a platform to remove barriers to participation, and I won by a large margin. Since then, we've expanded opportunities by launching 2 online platforms: What's Up Wheat Ridge, a community engagement platform to discuss local issues, and Wheat Ridge Speaks, which allows stakeholders to provide online public comment for City Council meetings instead of in-person attendance. These platforms helped residents get and stay involved and positioned Wheat Ridge to face the challenges of the pandemic.
Hi, I'm Terry Gale, and I co-chair the Wheat Ridge Race and Equity Task Force. Our city mourned with the rest of the families and the nation as countless lives were lost due to the horrific injustice perpetrated against our African American, Latinx, and otherwise marginalized communities. Because Wheat Ridge has an effective civic infrastructure, we responded quickly to begin addressing systemic racism and creating a more equitable community. The city of Wheat Ridge is all about having tough conversations, creating a space for all voices, and taking meaningful actions. Can we solve all the nation's problems? No. But our city is fully engaged to using all the tools, community members, and organizations necessary to stop inequity at the local level. We are making Wheat Ridge a more inclusive, equitable, and resilient community.
Hey, your table's ready.
Well, thanks, Eugene. Can you tell the girls why you opened your first restaurant in Wheat Ridge?
Sure, so we didn't want to just build a restaurant and brew pub. We wanted to build a special community gathering place. And Wheat Ridge has a vision. We've been here for 8 years, and we're always so grateful for all the people and the community and the neighborhood. And here, follow me. Let's go upstairs. I'll take you to your table.
Working together, Wheat Ridge strives to be a city where every community member is the key to opening more doors to become more welcoming, more resilient, more inclusive while staying uniquely Wheat Ridge.